Hey there, Chad here for the AI Content Dojo, and in this video I want to show you how to understand context when using the new Jarvis boss mode. Now, understanding context gives you the ability to kind of create content more easily and to understand how to get around some hurdles as they come up. There are really three different kinds of context in the Jarvis boss mode. The context that's inside of the compose button, the commands, and inside of the menu tools like rephrase, fix grammar, explain to a fifth grader. So let's go through each of them and I'll show you how to think about them when creating your content. But first, let me see if I can get some content up here real quick. Give me some topic ideas. Doing this means Jarvis is just going to throw anything at me. Okay, it wants to talk about blogging. How will your life change? Blogging is more than a hobby. All right, let's just do this. Blogging is more than a hobby. Let's do this. Create a content brief for the above. Wow. Sometimes the dictation doesn't quite catch everything right. Okay. All right. Cut that out. This goes over here. We'll cut this out, and this goes over here. Okay. All right, so right now we have something in the title, something in the content description, and nothing in the content area. So the first one I want to talk about is the compose button. The compose button uses all of the context essentially, and at least until your article gets really long. The title, the content description, the keywords, they are always used. Whenever you hit that compose button, just keep in mind everything over here in this left column will be used by Jarvis to help create the content or the output that you're hopefully expecting in return. So then in the content area over here, from wherever your cursor location is up, there can be anywhere, Jarvis can see anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 characters. Now, this gives them a lot of context to work with when your article has something there. Like right now, there's nothing here. But if I hit compose, he'll talk about blogging because the title and the content description are there. So I'm just going to hit, actually, I'll just hit compose and I'll explain the next thing after this. Okay, so blogging is not illegal, cool. So Jarvis is writing about blogging. That's because it is able to see over there in the title. Let me see if I show you. Oh, well, one more thing though, I guess. What happens when your article starts getting too long? Like it's longer than the 3,000 characters. So what happens is the title and the content description keywords, they're always used, right? So those always go. But your the context inside of this content area will start to truncate. So basically the stuff at the really high end at the top of your article, if you're way down low, like let's say you've got a 6,000 character article. It's weird saying characters, right? Let's say you've got a 3,000 word article and you're like down there towards the bottom and you're writing. And when you hit compose, it's only going to go up to 2,000, 3,000 characters from the location where the cursor is. So it's obviously not going to reach the top of your article. It's not going to grab the whole full article. But no matter what, the content description and the title will go. Which means that the content description and the title are a little bit more important than the rest of the content as far as giving Jarvis the context he needs to create content. So the content description and title, they can actually be changed at any time during your writing. This isn't something that you set once and you just leave it and forget it. A good way of thinking about these is when you need to make sure that Jarvis has some content for the compose button. If you put it here, he'll have it. So if you find you're way down in the bottom of an article and for some reason it won't catch, it won't take what you're trying to get from it, try putting some extra keywords that you're looking for in the content description and see what happens. Okay, let's talk about commands now. Commands have different context. So the command is almost kind of like the inverse of that. The command does use the content above it, just like the compose, but it does not use title or content description, like not at all. So it gives you the ability to put the command anywhere inside of the content without having to later maybe clear the content description I don't know if that makes sense, but essentially what it means is like, let's say that you're halfway through an article and you're trying to run a command that's kind of between 2 or 3 paragraphs or something. And if the content description, if this stuff over here was a part of or used in a command, then that means that you would have to clear this out every time you wanted to run a command and then put it back so that compose had something to work with, right? So that wouldn't be a really good workflow. So command has its own separate use of context. And so let's just test it here. Let's say write an intro for the above, right? Okay, there's nothing above it, right? So Jarvis has nothing to work with here in terms of a command, because this stuff over here means nothing. You can't see the title or content description when you're running a command. So let's see what it provides an intro for. It's a myth that only highly intelligent people are creative. I mean, at least it's writing about something interesting, but it has nothing to do with this topic, and it just happens to be throwing in some HTML. So yeah, as you can see, it doesn't have any of the context. But let's say if I copied this, put it in here, and then I said, write an intro for the above. And I use this. Now it should know it's talking about blogging. It should write an intro about blogging. There we go. So as you can see, the context for commands is only what's inside of the document over here and only what's above it, of course. If you run a command right here, it's only going to take into effect the content above it. The stuff below it still does not get seen. Okay, there's one more to talk about, and this is an easy one. The menu tools like rephrase, fix grammar, and explain it to a 5th grader. The stuff you see when you highlight a sentence or something, highlight something, you get rephrase, fix, and explain. So the context that is used for these tools is essentially only what you've highlighted. And let me just stop for a second and just ask you, why do you think that this might be important to understand? It's actually pretty important, because when you use rephrase, I imagine that a lot of us do, there is a few key important things to understand about that. So the reason it would be important is because when you're attempting to rephrase something and the portion that you highlighted does not contain enough context for Jarvis to create anything worthwhile from, then he won't be able to do it. He'll just kind of ramble on about something that doesn't quite fit, and you'll wonder why he's not able to rewrite it or rephrase it. So let's say there are so many reasons to blog that we can't even count them, right? This one Jarvis can probably handle. So if I hit rephrase, I should get an idea, and it should at least be talking about blogging, right? Okay. But if let's say that I took away the to blog, right? There are so many reasons that we can't even count them. So many reasons for what, right? If you read this sentence alone, there's no real meaning to it. So now if I hit rephrase, Jarvis is probably not going to know what to write about. See, he doesn't even try. Let's see if we can retry here. Oh, he got it. Is he seeing context now? Did he turn me into a liar? Wow, he was really going off right there. Interesting. Well, let's see if it really is that. Let's test live testing right here on video. All right. This is what I do all day, just experiment and test. So the funny thing is up until now, Jarvis has never successfully been able to do anything with content that's too generic. So here we go. Rewrite. Again. Okay. Well, so maybe it is seeing a little bit of context. So if it works for you, cool. But still keep in mind that there is a chance that if your sentence that you highlighted that is too generic, you should add in the context, like to blog, that we can't even count them. And that way it would give Jarvis more to work with so that he can produce something a little bit more worthwhile for you. Hopefully. You gotta love the AI. It's only trying to embarrass you in the middle of a video, right? Yep. Yeah, okay. It's doing okay. And cancel that. Explain it. Good. Perfect. Okay. So how do they all work in concert together? Really, that's kind of what as you're going through your dance, you're going to use a combination of compose, commands, and the menu tools to get what you want. There is an important thing to remember too, is the triple cutoff, right? Let's see if I can get back to some content here. And let's say that right here, I wanted to stop and talk about something else for just a moment, or just define something. Like maybe up here in this content, I mentioned something that maybe the reader wouldn't quite understand. And I don't really want to like spend a lot of time describing it, but maybe just do a quick definition of it. But I'm in the middle of this context. Like I can't, it's already talking about blogging, but I want to talk about, like maybe I'm blogging about sushi and like, you know, for some reason the reader might not know it. What I could do is isolate the command. Now, let's put some content back over here. Right. So if you remember, commands do not use the stuff on the left. So if you combine the triple asterisks, that's the context cutoff. So Jarvis does not look above those asterisks, right? So if I put the command right here, if I say define sushi, if I do that, it should not have any context with this because it's being cut off, and it doesn't see below it. So it should only talk about defining sushi. Yep. And maybe you would throw that in as like a side quote or an outline, you know, some kind of highlighted portion that looks like a definition from somewhere, you know, and keep going with your writing. So that would be a way that you could kind of break out of context of your article for a moment, write a little bit something else, and then move back in, take that triple asterisk out, and get back to what you want to do. And that's it. That's the context that you have to pay attention to when using Jarvis, so that anytime you run into little problems, you're like, hey, why isn't Jarvis giving me what I want? Think about what you're trying to do. If you're just doing a compose, that means everything all around is being used. Same thing though with the triple asterisk. If your compose is acting weird because, you know, it's got too much, like I wonder what would happen right here. Let's just test something. So we got context from here up, right? If I do compose, so that means it's got blogging stuff and then also sushi stuff. So, but it also has over here in the left column. So let's see what happens when it's got a little bit of sushi stuff in there. Jarvis goes crazy and starts doing lorem. Let's try again. Hanaya Yohei. That's actually the name of a restaurant here. That's interesting. So he started talking about sushi, as you can see, right? But if you don't want to be talking about sushi anymore, you just cut and then compose. When you use compose, the stuff over here in the title and kind of description is used, and so it can return back to talking about blogging. And so, yeah, you can use those triple asterisks to get back and control the context so that you can use Jarvis to get the content that you want. And I hope that you learned a little something in this video that maybe you didn't previously know. I know there's a lot of training out there already for this and a lot of people talking about it, but I wanted to put my take on it, and hopefully I did a good job for you. If you have any questions, just drop them down below. And if you don't have Jarvis yet and you really want to, like if you're a freelancer or a business owner or somebody who earns revenue from content, Jarvis would be a great companion, a great AI assistant to help you out. And if you're not yet subscribed, I have a link down in the description. If you do purchase it from that link, then the Jarvis crew will give the AI Content Dojo a small commission, and that would be really helpful for me moving forward to create more guides and videos like this. And I would, of course, really appreciate your help. And yeah, also the AI Content Dojo Facebook group is there. If you're not a member of that, just go to Facebook, do a search for AI Content Dojo. You'll find it pretty easily. And join, and we talk about AI content, from brainstorming to publishing, all the little steps, any tools that can help us along the way, not just writing, but publishing and content research, keyword research, stuff like that, everything. So I hope to see you there. And until next time, take care.